Welcome to Jacked Up Jimmy's Guns. When you're ready to have fun with a gun, we're the one. Ha ha. What brings you in today? You may. Hello, my name is Nicholas 1% Billion Bucks the third, and I am here to purchase my first firearm. I have taken a safety course and spent about 15 minutes on the range. I've spent no less than an hour researching on the internet, so I feel like I know a thing or two at this point. I would like a gun that I can carry daily, use for home protection, shoot skeet targets with, and also hit targets at 500 yards. I would not like to spend a lot of money, as I like to save money. What would you recommend? Even Jimmy doesn't know if he can help this guy. Well, hello, beautiful and brilliant people of YouTube and all over the internet. Welcome to Walther Lover Channel, where we talk about general shooting and gun topics. We do gun reviews, gear reviews, talk about my ridiculously hilarious journey in competitive shooting, and my slightly creepy obsession with Walther guns. Thanks for stopping by. Purpose of tonight's video is to talk a little bit about that first gun purchase and the process leading up to it. So if that's something that interests you, stick around and we're going to get into it right now. So perhaps you're somebody that, like so many over the last couple of years, have made a decision that, hey, I think I need to own a gun, or I have an interest in owning a gun. That's great. Welcome to the community. Even showing interest is being part of the community, and I think that's awesome. And there's a lot of you people who just got into it out there, so welcome again. It's awesome. So where do you start? That's always a challenge, right? Anytime you want to learn something new, can be a bit of a challenge to figure out how to do that. The first thing I believe you need to do is really understand if it's for you. And a lot of times that starts with either a class, and I talk about taking classes and training a lot because I feel like it's important. Or maybe you have a friend or associate or an acquaintance, somebody like me who's somewhat of a wacky gun nut and likes to shoot. And I love taking new shooters. I've mentioned it before. A lot of people like me out there. They love to get new people involved. So you reach out, you know that they're into it. You say, hey man, I've got some questions. Can you help me out? I think you will find that most people in the gun community are very easy to talk to, very easy to get along with, and always willing to help. That's been my experience so far. There's always the whole, I like to call it the 2% wacko factor. 2% of people are never going to be happy or nice no matter what you do. And that's okay. They're still people. They're probably just not the people that are going to help you. But yeah, that leaves 98%. I did math. It's hard, but I did math. 98% of the others that are always willing to help. So ask questions, figure it out, get that introduction. I do feel like most people who consider buying a firearm probably ought to pull the trigger on a firearm a couple of times before they do that. The reason is I have seen people who believe they have an interest, they want to go buy a gun, they get out there, they shoot a gun for the first time, they pull the trigger a couple of times and say, man, I don't think this is for me. It happens. So get out there, take some shots, take your first shots with a friend, with in a class, whatever the case may be. Figure out if it's for you. If it is, that's amazing. That's awesome. I'm so excited for you because you're starting a journey that most of us find to be super duper fun. And obviously, you can probably tell it's a huge part of my life. And I think you'll find that with a lot of people in our community. So welcome aboard. The next step is to determine what that gun's for. What are you trying to accomplish? What's the goal? What do you need it to do? And we learn from our Nicholas buddy there at the beginning of the video. This guy wanted one gun that did like 97 different things, and that would be awesome. It's like super gun, woohoo! We all want super gun. That would be fun. But unfortunately, I don't think super gun exists, and most of what our buddy was trying to accomplish isn't possible with one firearm. So you have to figure out what that purpose is, whether that be daily carry, if it is, understanding your laws, please, before you just make that decision. If it's home protection, vehicle protection, if it's just a range toy, you're interested in shooting, you want to go do some target stuff, great. If you are interested in getting into some competition shooting, great. Whatever the case is, you need to figure out what that purpose is going to be. Then you have a little more direction on your journey to know how to get there. The next thing, and one of the most important, I believe, is figuring out what is your budget. Oh, budget. Man, I hate to talk about money, right? We met our buddy here at the beginning of the video. That was old Nicholas, one percenter, a billion bucks, who clearly money was not an issue. And unfortunately, with most of, even though he was cheap, I know somebody like that. Um, Most of us don't fit in that category, right? We all work within a budget. We all have to work this new thing, this new hobby, this new interest into that budget. That's pretty normal. If you're not, and you are like Mr. Billion Bucks, well, congratulations. That's amazing, and you're in that 1%. I'm excited for you. On a side note, can I have some money if you're one of those people? Because you have so much. Give it some thought. Let me know if I can have some of it. That would be pretty cool. If you're not, you need to figure out what the budget is. Now, there's different schools of thought out there. There was a time when maybe you had to spend a little more to get a quality product. That's really not true anymore, although for the most part, it holds true in everything in life, right? You get what you pay for. There are a lot of inexpensive guns out there that are reliable, safe, and fun, and they've come a long way. They're much better than they used to be. Now, you can spend as much as you want on this hobby slash obsession for some of us. Some of you that are sane, unlike a lot of us, would be shocked and probably never talk to us again if you figured out what we spent on some of these things and stuff, and say you spent how much on what? It can get a little out of hand, but it doesn't have to be, right? We've made the sacrifices to make those things happen for ourselves or for yourselves. That's cool. It doesn't have to start like that. It certainly didn't start like that for me. I had no money to spend when I started this thing, and I bought very cheap, and it still led me where I am today, which is amazing. So figure out what your budget is, and that's pretty darn important, and stick within that budget. Depending on who you talk to, they'll make you think you have to spend a fortune. You really don't. You can spend as much as you want on this thing. You can spend a very reasonable amount of money to feel protected or have some fun, whatever your purpose is, which you have already identified. The next thing is to learn. Learn. So how do you learn about guns? Well, of course, there's the old intraweb, like we're talking right now on the intraweb, and it's neat. There's tons of great information on the internet, and there's some amazing, amazing gun people on the internet. I subscribe to, I don't even know how many folks. I learn something constantly from these folks. It's just great stuff out there. Unfortunately, on the flip side, there's also a lot of bad information on the internet. When you don't know what you don't know, it's really hard to kind of figure out and weigh those options and weed through all that nonsense and figure out what is nonsense and what's the truth. But you start to figure these things out in time, and you get as much information as you can. So the good old internet's one source. To me, the best source is to get out there and talk to the gun enthusiasts like myself, people you may know, and of course your local gun shops, local sporting goods stores, wherever they sell guns. There's one area I travel to. There's an amazing hardware store with some great people in it, and they have a huge gun counter, and those guys are pretty cool. I don't spend a lot of time there, but I'm spoiled. I found that one shop for me, and that I love the people there. It's like a second family. You know who you are, by the way. If some of you are watching, we're going to do some filming there soon. We can make all that happen. I love you guys. You're amazing. You know who you are. If somebody wants to know who I'm talking about and why I'm so in love with a place that sells guns, hit me up, and I'll tell you where to go. But anyway, I'll see you guys soon. But ask questions, learn, and most people in our community are going to be willing to share. They are. And when you're asking those questions, a lot of times you're going to find bias. It happens. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey Ed, I want to spend this amount of money, and what brand of gun should I buy?" What do you think my answer may be, folks? Right? I'm a little biased because I like what I like and it works for me. If you go to and talk to a Glock person, of which there are millions and millions and millions of Glock people, what do you think they're going to tell you to buy? Right? Because it works for them. There's nothing wrong with that. It's obviously a great gun and reliable, but it may not be for you. You have to ask those questions. You can't go entirely on one person. Now, another way to look at it is this. If you happen to be a car person or you know car people, go to your Ford fan, the guy that drives the Ford truck, that wears the Ford hat, has Ford t-shirts, and tell him you're thinking about buying a GMC and watch what happens. right? They get freaked out by it because they're so biased for it. And then do the same thing with the GMC person. So the GMC person is going to say, ho, ho, fix or repair daily, buddy. Yeah. You go back to the Ford guy, tell him what the GMC guy said. He's going to say, oh, yeah, got a mechanic, Charlie? Ha, ha, ha. Right? Because the GMC guy, first on race day. Anyway, for those of you that are into the car world, you know what I'm talking about because it exists. That same bias exists in our gun world. People are adamant about what they love. There's nothing wrong with that. You've got to get multiple sources of information so you can make an educated decision for yourself. Then, after you have an idea where to start, then you got to get out there and try them on. There's a lot of nonsense about what size gun certain people should have, right? And I see it a lot when it comes to women. Well, I'll tell you right now, women are going to need a smaller gun because of their smaller hands. Oh, it's nonsense. If you Google women in competitive shooting or women shooters and find some of these amazing women that are out there shooting matches, representing companies out there, the things they could do with some of these advanced firearms, remarkable. There's little bitty women out there with little bitty hands shooting these giant guns that I could never control and doing it at a level that you just can't imagine. So it's nonsense. Those guns fit them. And they figured that out because they tried them on like you would a piece of clothing. You go to the store and you ask to see all these different guns. You've got an idea where you want to start. Put them in your hands. You see how it fits you and see. Most of the time, and I've watched it happen time and time again, that person gets that gun in their hand and goes, ooh, you see the look on their face. They know they've got their hands on the right one. And it's magical when that happens. I love when it happens. It's very exciting. It's like holding a baby for the first time, which is really a weird thing to say. But anyway, get out there in the shops, get your hands on these guns, touch them, feel them. I mean, don't do creepy stuff with it. That'd be weird. And I think the people in the stores would have a problem with that. So keep it clean. But get out there and get your hands on as many as possible so you know what fits you and you feel good about your decision. So you've made your decision. You found that gun that fits you. Awesome. Sweet. I'm very excited for you. The next thing to do is get trained. Now, take a class. Ha! I say it all the time, take a class. But again, I'm spoiled because I have an amazing place to take amazing classes from amazing people. But I'm sure you have some pretty awesome people where you are too. Get trained because if you're doing this for sport, you're not going to do it if you're not good at it. You're not going to get good at it unless you practice. You're not going to practice like you train so you know how to practice, right? If you're doing it for self-defense, God forbid, none of us want to ever have to use them for that purpose. But if we did and we're not trained, we're not proficient, what's the purpose? What good is it? It could get us in trouble or worse, and it's just terrible. And not to mention that the foundation of all of it is safety. If you don't have the foundation of safety, then, man, these things can be dangerous. They're not dangerous in the hands of legal, responsible gun owners. Responsible gun owner means you know how to use it, you know how to keep it safe. So get trained, know how to use it. So that's kind of it. I feel like that's how you get started. That's what you do. Now, maybe you believe what I said, maybe you don't. But I think it's a good place. I've walked along this journey with a lot of people in my life. It's been fun. I watched some of these people grow into people that shoot way better than I do, and I don't talk to them anymore because that's not fair. But it's a good place to start. Follow these steps. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for you tonight. If you like this video, that's sweet. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. I was going to give you a trivia question, but you know I'm going to say that in every video. If you didn't like this video, I'm really sorry, and I don't know why. And maybe you could tell me, and then we'll know. And maybe you could hit the like and subscribe button anyway, and then next time you come back, it'll be a better video, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, I really appreciate the support. A lot of folks are coming out and having some laughs with me, and maybe passing this along to somebody that can get something out of all my gibberish and nonsense. That would be cool. If not, maybe it's just entertainment. That's cool too. But I really appreciate the support. Hoping to get some more content up soon. I got some stuff in queue ready to go, some reviews and stuff like that ready to rock and roll, which is cool. But again, any suggestions, I'm open-minded. With that, I hope you have a fantabulous evening, day, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And thank you for stopping by. Love you guys. Appreciate the support. See you.